I'm increasingly being asked about whether I think AI tools are any good for marketing and whether you can use them if you want to do more ethical marketing, or if you're a coach or a consultant, are they any use? So what I thought I'd do is walk you through a few of the AI tools that I'm using in my weekly marketing activity, so you can see whether they might be the right fit for you and whether they can help you do the kind of thing that you're looking to do. So let's check out these tools. So to start off, I thought we'd get started with probably the most well-known tool, and that is ChatGPT. So ChatGPT has been rumoured to be able to do, I don't know, I've seen people say it can do literally anything you can think of. It can do quite a lot. There's a lot of stuff it can do. There's also a lot of stuff it can't do, and I'm going to show you some other tools I use to kind of connect in with ChatGPT to make it more effective. So if you wanted to, you could ask ChatGPT to write a blog. So for example, we could say, write a blog post about using AI tools for coaches and consultants in 300 words, for example. It will then go off and it will do this thing. So as you can see, it's very quick. This is writing a blog post, and this blog post, I've literally no idea what it says, but I'd imagine it'd be fairly good. I mean, it'll be pretty average, I'd imagine. Maybe I should have used it to make this video, so myself having to actually sit here and talk into the camera. But essentially, this blog will be sort of top level, fairly generic, in the sense that AI, and ChatGPT in particular, is very good at just sort of repeating what everybody already knows. It's not very good at either contextualizing two ideas that it doesn't understand together. So if I was to then get it to write one on Formula One driving and then say, can you combine those two together, what you'd get is sort of grammatically correct, but it probably isn't very original in the way it's doing it, or it would just be a bit weird. The other thing to bear in mind is that this blog could contain what we call hallucinations. So a hallucination is when AI just literally makes something up. So for example, if you were to say, describe Brighton Beach, the description it comes up with will be a hallucination, because it doesn't know Brighton Beach. It doesn't have any context as to physical locations, people, or dates. It's getting better, but you can't trust it. You do have to check it. So, for example, you could take this blog post and then you could rewrite this. However, instantly, without even reading it, I can see that AI wrote this blog because it's using the word moreover. I don't think I've ever used the word moreover. I don't know anybody who's ever used the word moreover. It's grammatically correct, and maybe you're a moreover fan. Maybe you own moreover.com. But most people, I would say, never use these words. So there's certain things that give away AI has written it. It's using firstly. Again, unless you're using a list, most people don't use this sort of language. It will then generally end with a summary, which this actually hasn't. So I take that back. Normally this would say, in conclusion, the future of AI tools will undoubtedly. It's good at using the word conclusion in summary. It's not really how a lot of people write, to be honest. So we've got this blog. Let's not smash this about too much. So let's say you could spend another half an hour or 10 minutes, let's say, chatting to ChatGPT and getting it to refine what it's written. I still find it's using words like moreover. So I don't like this paragraph, let's say. So let's copy this paragraph, and then I use a tool called DeepL in writing mode, not in translation, but in writing mode. If you pop that in here, it will then make it sound a bit more like a human has written it. It will check your sentence structure, and it's an amazing tool. So in addition, AI, now that's more the kind of language I use. Still a bit formal. Let's see what otherwise it's got. We could, in tandem, that's fun, isn't it? In tandem, AI can enhance personalization. So let's say I don't really like personalization. I could say individualization. I don't know, I would go with that. I'm just proving a point. The other thing it can do is, let's say this second sentence we don't like, you can get it to rephrase the entire sentence. And then when you're happy with it, you can just copy it and use it. I use this tool all the time to check my writing. I'm dyslexic, so I can't check what I've written because my brain gets lazy and I just skip over all the things I've written. So this tool is invaluable. I use this in everything I write. In emails I send, I use it before I post social posts. If I'm going to comment on a post on LinkedIn and I'm writing something more than one sentence, I will generally run it through this first. And it's just a really good tool in combination with ChatGPT. So for writing, I think these two are really, really good. You can ask ChatGPT to get to the point. So if you ask it a very short question, it gives you like a 1,000-word answer. You can just say, can you make this answer a lot shorter? Can you summarize this in 100 words, etc., etc. Okay, so the other thing to bear in mind is I'm using the paid for version of ChatGPT. If you're using the free version, if you can get into it, that is, you're only going to be able to use 3 or even maybe 3.5. 4 is got lots more fun things. One of those fun things is image generation. So I'm going to generate the thumbnail for this video now. So one thing I find with AI images is if you just ask it to describe AI, it just goes a bit bonkers and it generally comes up with something quite spacey and ethereal, and it's not really very kind of imaginative. A vibe I like at the moment is using robots to describe it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask this to create an image of a group of robots sat around a table making a plan. Now, if I do that, it will come up with a number of images. It's sometimes one, sometimes two. And that's quite a generic prompt I've given it. I've intentionally left out a bit of detail because then I can show you how adding the detail makes these images better, but I also want to show you how you can kind of evolve an image generation. Image generation is pretty good on this, and this is using DALL-E, so D-A-L-L-E. DALL-E, so here we go. There it is. I mean, it's pretty sci-fi, isn't it? So that is an image of a group of robots sat around a table making a plan. And then it's gone on to sort of tell us a bit more about that image. So I think this is actually pretty good. I quite like that image. For a first go, that's not bad. However, I can't use a square as a YouTube. So what I can do is I can say, make this image landscape format. And it will then go ahead and make that image. Now while it's doing that, it's something worth mentioning that this text here makes really good alt text. So when you upload an image to your website, or if you put something on Medium, for example, it often, or even on LinkedIn, it'll ask you for an image description. So what is this image? And for people who are visually impaired, say, then that image, the description of it helps them understand the context of the image, and it's really good for accessibility. So this is a really good description of that image. So I'm using it all the time for alt text. Right, the image is finished now, so let's have a look. There it is. So it's very similar in detail. It's a similar style. I quite like that. It's yeah. I mean, I would say it's kind of, it's interesting they've all got these little blue dots in. It's quite keen of the blue dots. This, I think, and they're all sat around a big blue circly thing. There's something around, I think it was Minority Report. There was something with a robot with that in. And I think it must have been in the very early training image, because everything I ask it to do with a robot in, it's always white, looks a bit like an Apple product, and it's got a big blue thing on it. So there's definitely something it knows. One last thing that I quite like to do is make this in the style of the 1950s vision of the future. And I'm going to add science fiction vision of the future. Now this is just quite fun because it gets it to be a bit more creative, and I find it kind of removes this sort of annoying white robot blue dot phenomenon. Just to say, when you download these images, they're really high res. They're about 3 meg and they're about 2,000 pixels across, so they're big images. We're using this for clients at the moment to make images of things that they can't photograph. So some of our clients work in environments. Oh, there we go, look. The 1950s robots. So that's more fun. I think that's got a bit more of a interesting vibe to it. They all look like toy robots, but I think it's quite good fun. I'm quite enjoying it. It's got a bit of a steampunk element to it. Maybe a little bit of a sort of Wallace and Gromit vibe, but I really like the style, and it just shows you can get it to go from science fiction to 1950s science fiction, and it's quite imaginative. Anyway, sorry, what I was saying, we're using this at the moment to create images of places that our clients can't photograph. So we've got a data center client at the moment, and they can't photograph inside the data centers they make because they are owned by big companies. So we're using AI to generate images of these data centers that they just can't photograph themselves. So there's really interesting applications for this, and it's quite an interesting way of being experimental with your images. So anyway, that's the YouTube thumbnail for ChatGPT. The next tool I want to show you is called Perplexity. Now, Perplexity is a really interesting sort of expansion of ChatGPT. So you could go to ChatGPT and ask it a question, and it will give you an answer. However, the answer comes from its own understanding, its own knowledge. That is based on what it's found on the internet and the books it's read and the knowledge it's gleaned, which is great. However, sometimes the question is a little bit less academic, shall we say. So rather than wanting to know what cats are thinking all day, for example, it's quite a deep question, probably come up with some interesting answers on ChatGPT, you might want to know something a little bit simpler that's based on fact. So what we're going to do here is ask it a very Brighton question. What are the benefits of going from a hot sauna to a cold plunge pool? Okay, so this is the kind of question I would potentially have used to have typed into Google. So this here has taken my question and it has given me the answer. But this answer differs slightly from what we would get on ChatGPT. So let's just ask ChatGPT the same question for context. So we'll let that go away and do that. So in here, it's given me the places on the internet it has found the answers from. So what it's done is it's read that web page, it's read that web page, it's read that web page. It's also combined it with ChatGPT 4, and it's then given me this answer. So it's contextualizing the answers, but more importantly, it's giving me the source. So this paragraph here is from sources 1 and 2. So if I click on 1, it will tell me where's this from. So this is from a website called plunge.com. Interesting. And what's number 2? Pink and green skincare. There we go. So it's read these blogs and it's given me the answer. So traditionally I might have gone to Google or Bing, typed in that answer, and then had to sit there and read through 3 or 4 different blogs to get the answer. Whereas what this is doing is it's basically doing that research work for you. It's also found some images. Now my question doesn't really need an image, but your question may have done. In fact, it has found a little image that might be quite interesting. Yeah, it just adds a bit of context to the answer, doesn't it? Let's see what ChatGPT did. So ChatGPT has done the classic, which is just to give you a list of stuff. As you can see, it's quite an in-depth answer, which is interesting. Now, what have we got? Circulation, inflammation, enhanced response, boosted endorphin levels. That, to me, is looking quite similar to what we're seeing here. So it's just given it in a different format. However, you have to remember that all of this could be hallucinated, or elements of this could be hallucinated, as in it could be made up. We don't know. Whereas what this is saying is I've checked what the ChatGPT has said, because it is using ChatGPT behind the scenes. It goes away to ChatGPT, gets an answer, comes back, but then it's also combining that with what it knows from different web pages and giving you the sources. So that is a really interesting thing to use. I've started also using it. There's an app on your phone you can get. So I now find if I've got a question I want to know the answer to, rather than Googling that question, I'm now using Perplexity. The other thing is you can click on search videos and it will now find different videos. They're generally from YouTube, but not always, that come in that might be relevant to it. And you can also get it to generate an image based on what it's done here, but you do have to pay for that. So you get quite a few searches for free. There is a paid version. I don't have the paid version yet, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get to that by the next time I do a video on this. So it's an interesting way of exploring the internet. Now, there's a reason I find this very interesting, and that is that quite a lot of the content that I make is based around answering questions that people have. Quite a lot of what my book is about is advising people to make interesting content that gets people thinking and gets them curious. So, in the world of SEO, search engine optimization, there's an element of that, which is if you have the most relevant answer, Google will surface that answer near the top of the results. So we are thinking about having the list of results. Here's the results. Look, they come up here. I'm using Bing actually because it's got ChatGPT built into it. But essentially what this is called in marketing circles is called the 10 blue links, basically. So this is the world of 10 blue links. So I've typed the question in, and plunge.com is the top answer that isn't sponsored. And then we've got Sauna Helper, Deep End Pools, Sauna Marketplace, Sauna Life. So this is SEO'd content, essentially. This is the answer to that question. However, with Perplexity, the answer is still there and it is still sourced, but I really feel like this is the way stuff is going. So, for example, if you were to ask Siri, Alexa or Google Assistant a question, this is the kind of thing that's coming back. And more, I think this is how people are searching the internet. So if you structure your question as question and answer, i.e. you're making that response to people's questions, and you've got a good niche and people are deep diving into a topic, then I think this is a really interesting way of them discovering your content and discovering you as an authoritative source. Because I think this thing with the sources across the top, if you ask it a very in-depth question about something, or linking two ideas together that's a key part of your work, you might find that you're actually one of the top sources for the answer. And therefore, something like Perplexity still allows you to be discovered. Less so on ChatGPT because it doesn't tell you where it's found all these answers. It has just found it from its own brain. So there is definitely an element of AI tools emerging, and Perplexity isn't the only one. There are a few tools out there that do what this does. I just found Perplexity to be very, very good. So what am I saying here? A, give this a go. Give Perplexity a go. I think it's really good fun and it's really interesting for answering your questions. I'd encourage you to pop it on your phone as well and just use it when you're out and about with questions that you might have. It's really good for finding the answers. But secondly, start to think about the content you make in the context of people asking questions, and who are the people who are asking your questions, and what are the answers that you can share that will get them thinking more. And the more relevant you can be and the more specific to your niche you can be, the more likely it is you're going to come up as an answer when someone is asking a question. So the last tool I wanted to go through is in Canva. Now, Canva has been adding AI tools to its paid for or pro version for a little while, and they're getting really good. There's some really interesting ones. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of them. There are other tools out there that do all of these things, but this video is trying to be an overview video rather than an in-depth dive into the 10,000 tools out there. So I will come back and do another video on some other tools later on, but this is just an overview of some of the things you can do. And I know that a lot of people who are doing their own marketing are using Canva, so it felt like a good place to start. So basically, in a Canva project is where you do this stuff. You don't have to go into what they're calling Magic Studio. The Magic Studio features are just baked into your Canva project already. So they start off with this thing called Magic Write, and I'll be honest, it's okay. I think if you ask ChatGPT to write something, so if you say, can you write a paragraph explaining blah, 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 then use DeepL, you come up with something that's a bit better than Magic Write. But this is early days, and I think it's got promise. I really do like it. I've not had, I'll be honest, any success rewriting anything, but then what I have put into it has been written already and optimized already, so it's kind of how I want it. So rewriting it really wasn't for me. However, it's worth a go. I would encourage you to chuck something in. If you're getting stuck with it, it just doesn't fit right, why not try Magic Write? There's this feature called Magic Switch, which is really interesting. So basically, if you've got a presentation, you can transform it into a document. So they've gone presentation to document format. That could be quite useful. You could maybe make a presentation and say, make me a checklist out of this. Could be interesting. The other way around, import a document, make me a presentation. This could save you a lot of time, and I think you're then still going to have to go through and make it look and feel like you. But the point being that this is a big time saver. Really interesting. I've tried it a couple of times, unfortunately on a document that I can't show you on a video because it has client sensitive data on it. This is why I'm using this demo section to show you around, but I have tried it and it was alarmingly good. I'll be honest, animation is a rebadging of the animations that were already there. They just put the word magic in front of it, but basically you can just animate stuff in exactly the same way. All of the stuff is the same. It's the same names. They haven't even changed it. Anyway, not poo-pooing it, it's still there. Magic Morph, this is quite good fun. So you select an item, then you type in what you want it to look like, and then this is highly sped up. It then makes it look like a balloon or something. So it's quite good fun. It doesn't work on everything, but it does work on basically vectorized shapes. It's quite good at. So I think that's quite good fun. You can do it with words as well. So you can select a title and then say, make it look like it's written in chalk on a chalkboard, stuff like that. And it is pretty good. Worth a try. Text to video. This is good if you want to do this kind of stuff, where it's like, make a castle or make something that doesn't exist. Then it's really good. That person, I've found that people don't look like people at all, which it does say people aren't very good. However, if you were to say make a video of a hovercraft, you've already got an idea of what that hovercraft looks like. It's not that good at matching that. But if you say make me a magical fairy tale castle, obviously it doesn't exist. So for making stuff that doesn't exist, it's really good. The other thing to bear in mind is the video is literally 2 or 3 seconds long, if that, not even that long. So it's not going to make you an entire half-hour documentary on surfing. Anyway, give it a go. It's quite good fun. Text to image. This is pretty good. Now, as we've just seen, DALL-E in ChatGPT is really good at this. So this is okay, but I would say if you really want to get stuck into it, then ChatGPT is the answer. There's also loads of other tools out there that make images from text, but this is a really good start. I used it the other day to make something and it was pretty good. So yeah, I'd give it a go. Basically, the more people use it, the better it will get. Magic Edit, this is another fun thing. So you basically draw over what you want and then say change it. So they're using a business context here of like, take my weekend top off and give me a suit. Ta-da! I used it to remove something at the back of a photo the other day. It did a pretty good job. If you are already paying for Adobe, then this is in Adobe and is unbelievably good. Like, Canva is good, but the Photoshop version is wow. Magic Grab, this is brilliant. I use this quite a lot. You can literally pick stuff up, make different layers. You can select the background and make the background blurred. You can pick up that plant in this and move it backwards a bit. It's really good. You can do it for any photo you upload. So yeah, definitely give that a go. This is also a fun feature. It's called Magic Expand. So you basically give it a photo and then you say, make it bigger. So as this is an example, they've given it a square photo and then they're making it longer. It is pretty good. What I would say is the bit that you want to make bigger ideally won't have anything in it. So for example, this sky they've given it is a great example, hence why they've used it as the example. If for example you give it the edge of a building or the inside of a corridor, it's surrounded by different things, it does struggle a little bit there. If you give it a landscape, it's really good at landscapes. We used it the other day to make a landscape that was sort of 16 by 9 really wide for a website. We needed it to be really wide and it was amazing. If you'd never have been to the place that photo was of, you'd think it was that place. It was unbelievable. So it can do some really good stuff, so I'd give that a go. But most of all, I think it's all baked into that sidebar on Canva as well. So it's really easy to find, and wherever it's available, it tells you it's there. If you're not paying for the pro version of Canva, I would say this is worth paying for because there's loads of really good fun tools here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've learned something new about some AI tools that are out there, and I hope it's inspired you to try something different with an AI tool that you perhaps haven't done before. If you've got a great tool you're using that I've missed, or you think there's a similar thing to what I've described, then do drop it in the comments below, because I'd love to know what it is. Or if there's a great tool out there that you think that does something that I've not even thought about, then also do let me know, because I'm always interested to discover new and interesting tools. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.